What's something that everybody likes but you don't? Story 1. Okay, so we already know that plenty of people don't like vaping, me being one of them. But I specifically hate the smell of vapes because I can always smell whichever flavor it is, coupled with the smell of the person's breath, and it reeks. I'm not talking about someone who didn't brush their teeth and then vaped, like no matter how freshly clean your mouth is. I still smell breath first with a hint of whatever scent the specific flavor was. Everyone around me that loves the smell of them, and I don't get it at all. Story 2. Soda. I've stopped drinking soda and other packaged beverages since my episode of paralysis. I had a severe reaction to it as a child that caused my hands and feet to become paralyzed, and my mouth was involuntarily twisted to the left. Milk causes me abdominal pain to the point where I can no longer stand upright. So the only option that is left for me is tea. I don't crave them anymore. In fact, I feel nauseous just by the mere sight of them. Story 3. This might be controversial, but restaurants. They're okay sometimes, but they tend to be stressful. The portions are too big for me. I work a waitress's job so I can see when the server is stressing. The food isn't always good, and I don't really like talking and eating. Overall, it's just not very fun to me. Story 4. Coffee. I am also Swedish, which makes it worse. And then on top of that, I worked in sales and in healthcare. Every time I tell people I hate the taste of coffee, they almost spits theirs out. I've tried every type of coffee drink too, and I still think the coffee taste breaks through and makes it undrinkable. Story 5. That Mr. Bean guy who, whatever his name is, I'm so fucking tired of seeing his face damn near everywhere, cannot escape that ugly mug. Any videos I see of him make me insanely uncomfortable. Him as a person is just ew to me. He gives me super creeps and really bad vibes. I don't understand how no one else finds him creepy and annoying. Story 6. Negativity, debating and complaining. I've asked multiple different people on multiple different occasions, why are you still deliberating if you already know the answer? They say it's fun. Who the fuck finds it fun running through thousands of possibilities in their brain over and over again? That's not called fun, that's called anxiety. Dumbass people. Story 7. Arts and crafts. I've tried many, painting, knitting, crocheting, woodwork, etc., but never had the patience to stick with it for long. Seems like most of my friends and family love it, and I think it's great that they are able to make their own stuff, more environmental friendly, etc. But I still can't make myself focus on it or enjoy it. I just get frustrated that it takes so long, etc., and feel like I'm the only one. Story 8. Rural living. We glorify rural living in America to the extent that it's our default sort of ideal surroundings. I went from living in the downtown of a mid-sized city to living in countryside outside of a town of 3,000 people. When I had 5 acres and a 4,000 square foot house out in the country, I was absolutely miserable. It was pretty close to town, and if you weren't from there, they had no use for you. It took 6 hours to mow and weed whack my yard on a steep hill. We constantly had house projects that needed to be done. The kids never cared one bit about playing out in the yard. I made 0 friends because I was a weirdo who had a college degree and didn't own a pair of jeans. Honestly, the few years I lived out in the country just felt like something in me died. I fell into a deep depression and honestly do not think I had ever been that sad in my entire life. Now, we live in a small townhouse near a transit stop that goes into the city. I have friends again whom I can meet for drinks or to go out on a bike ride with. There are all kinds of things to do all the time. I don't spend any time at all on yard work. My kids go to good schools and have amazing parks just outside their door. My mental health is so much better now. I look back on those rural days as some of the darkest in my life. Story 9. Traveling and camping. Dude, let's pack our shit from home and go be super stressed at an airport and cram into a sardine can with other people for several hours to land and go find a place that looks like home and put away our stuff in drawers like at home, and then go look at things in a new place we have never been with hundreds of strangers who are doing it too. Let's wait in these long lines. Yay! Boring as fuck, stressful as fuck, expensive as fuck. Camping is more or less the same the way most people do it. Let's bring home with us so we can halfway pretend to be homeless for a week with 80% of the amenities of home. Boring, stupid. Story 10. Hawaiian pizza. Not because of the flavor though. It's the amount of moisture that accumulates on the cheese will keep it from caramelizing. And if you put it under the cheese, it will keep the dough from firming up. Also, I don't think lunch meat ham is that good of a topping to begin with. Just contemplating the logic behind how it is supposed to pizza with that much moisture on it. Like adding a half a cup of pineapple juice on it and baking it to wonder why it's a soup in the middle. Story 11. Myself. Honestly, I have a love-hate relationship with myself. Everyone I know has a positive opinion of me, while I know if I truly put my mind to it, I can easily be a very terrible person if I let my inner thoughts of true evil out. I truly feel like a scumbag, less than dirt. I love myself too much to commit suic*d. I give myself pep talks, try to give myself grace on occasion, and shove my truly evil self down or away or try to avoid it. I also truly love and congratulate myself because I'm trying so hard not to be that evil that is inside me. I want to help others, truly. I also know that I help others to distract myself from my evil within. I was raised in a way that has almost been forgotten. Don't speak unless spoken to was the bare minimum in my upbringing. Show and earn respect even when it's not given to you. If you fall down, get up. If you bleed, rub some dirt in it. Run it off. I was told that I needed to build character. Be stubborn for good. If I wanted to survive, the world is harsh and cruel. My parents weren't mean, they were realistic, and I love them for it. They never pulled their punches when teaching me life lessons. TLDR. I hate being human. Story 12. Super intense and heavy dramas and movies. Personally, I watch TV and movies for entertainment and distraction. I feel like if I wanted to deal with heavy shit and drama, I would just go back to my life. When I'm watching TV, I don't want to be thinking about that kind of stuff. I just want it to be silly and fun so it takes my mind off of things. That's why I never understood the hype around Game of Thrones and other shows like that. I tend to stick to comedy movies and funny shows like Bob's Burgers or sitcoms like Dairy Girls. Story 13. I don't like to get drunk, a little buzz while we eat snacks, but I stop at just one drink, or just a splash of rum in my drink. Unless you ask for one shot of whiskey and a soda back, you never get the exact drink strength. Maybe a wine spritzer. But for the prices they charge, get a full-strength wine and a club soda back, and keep ordering soda, or your friend drinks your wine. It works for me. Story 14, social media. It's so time-consuming, and I can be on Instagram looking at funny reels for half an hour, and only remember maybe one or two of what I saw, which I will probably forget about in a few days. I also have young cousins who are only 11 but are on Instagram all the time because of the pressure of everyone else their age, and they are already super insecure. It's truly sad. Story 15. I don't like sugary drinks. I won't drink Coke or sweet tea or whatever else. Mostly for me, it's either water, seltzer, coffee, or tea. I will put some sugar in hot tea and coffee, but I like that I can control how much goes into the drink. But sugary drinks are everywhere. Restaurants, sporting events, cookouts with friends and family. Every gas station in America has an entire wall of coolers full of them. It sort of grosses me out. Story 16, the beach, hiking, etc. It's just boring, and people get mad at you if you bring a phone or something as if that somehow ruins the entire experience. Personally, I find it much more enjoyable to just go relax next to a pretty natural waterfall while playing on my phone, as opposed to just awkwardly sitting there staring at it, pretending like technology doesn't exist or something. And at the beach, what the fuck is there even to do at the beach? Buy overpriced food, get sand everywhere, have to slather myself in oily, slippery, lotion-like substances just so the sun doesn't burn me to a crisp and give me mega cancer. It's just so fucking stupid. The beach sucks. Story 17, beaches during summer. I am terrified of sunburns after having a few really bad ones and third-degree burns. At the same time, I hate having sunscreen. It's a sensory thing, I suppose. For me, it feels the same as bathing in a tub of sour cream. So I have to wear clothes, but going in the water with clothes is not fun. Finally, I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating and gets everywhere. Story 18. Exercise workout classes. I hate them. I have attended a few before and despise them. I actually passed out in one years ago. Why would you assume everyone can work out at your level? I have been running for the last 15 years, but when I was younger, I couldn't even walk a mile. I run by myself at my pace. Story 19. Coffee. But not just the taste, the smell. I literally can't breathe in its presence, like some part of my brain is reacting to the detection of a poison. It's gotten less severe as I've aged. I'm super taster and bitter things present problems for me. I assume it's related. Story 20. Pubs. I can't think of anything worse than going after work, spending way too much money on beer, getting drunk with workmates I've just spent the whole day with and listening to them shit talk any more than is necessary, then having to figure out how to get home without getting a DUI. No thanks. I'd rather have a BBQ, buy my own beer and keep it in my own fridge and choose the company I have around me. Story 21. Politics. Everyone is so obsessed with candidates, their bios, their views, etc. At the end of the day, as long as our taxes are reasonable and we are protected from foreign attacks, I feel that policies don't make a significant impact on my life. Why is everyone so interested? To me, it's hocus pocus. Story 22. Anything Any themes, ideas, concepts, or messages that could be considered meta in movies, TV shows, games, etc.? I don't find those things to be anywhere near as deep, thought-provoking, or interesting as everyone else seems to. I find it all to be mind-numbingly simplistic, redundant, simple-minded, and the kind of thing I'd expect someone to say through a haze of bong smoke or something. What's most irritating about it is that it's always presented as something profound and mind-blowingly amazing. Story 23. Air fresheners. Spanish people love them. They are everywhere, especially at shopping centers and in people's homes. Unless they are more on the high-end side, which is never the case, they usually smell very cheap and artificial. Why would you want to smell something toxic all day? Story 24. One thing that comes to mind is pineapple on pizza. While many people enjoy the sweet and savory combination, it's just not my personal preference. I prefer my pizza without fruit toppings. However, I understand that taste preferences vary widely, and what appeals to one person may not appeal to another. Story 25. Facebook. I get that it's an easy way for relatives who live far away can keep in touch, but far too often it's used for all the wrong reasons. Someone near where I live was videoed having a conversation with a minor. The person taking the video had uploaded it claiming that he was a local pervert or something, and people who didn't know him for the friendly old guy who just talks to everyone who talks back jumped on the bandwagon and were calling for him to be lynched and all sorts. Story 26. One thing that seems to be very popular but that I'm not a big fan of is superhero movies and the Marvel DC cinematic universes. While I can appreciate the entertainment value and creativity involved, I don't share the intense enthusiasm that many people have for those franchises. Story 27. Sport. The amount of times a fellow male will just launch into a sport conversation with me, as it's usually a safe bet that another male will be interested in it. I've long stopped giving a shit about what anyone thinks of my lack of interest, so now I love harvesting reactions when I tell them I have no interest in sport whatsoever. Story 28. Going to see fireworks. It's pretty good enough to see it through a window or in the distance for me. I've been somewhere to see fireworks in person at the end of a year. It was such a nightmare that there were so many crowds. It took me ages to get out of it.